there's other triggers, right? Because I've wanted him to be a part of my life this whole time. And I just felt because we were the adopted kids, like there was no real relationship built there. And in my mind, there was always a relationship built. I thought he was going to be the one who walks me down the aisle. I thought he would be more involved in my life as more of a like man figure in my life. And as soon as he like moved in with his wife and moved away, he like this part of the family didn't exist anymore. And I was like,
Mm.
did I do something? And I could never put my finger on it. So I just made one phone call. And after that, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Mm. And I
Do
think
you think
that's
that
what's so
that's
hard. Go ahead, Jill.
I wanted to just point out like the difference of like, do you feel that that's like an entitlement thing, or do you think that that's closer to a fear of rejection again?
Probably both. Like, I feel like I don't know if it's even entitlement. I feel like he needs to take responsibility. And then, yeah, the other thing is the fear of rejection. Like, will he even care enough to call me back again?
Hmm.
It's scary putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially in like such a heavy situation. I don't like envy the position that you're in.
Yeah.
And I think parents could say exactly what you just said. We have this image in our minds of how our life is going to play out with our adult children in our lives. We have this play that continues. And when that doesn't happen, there's just a big disconnect. And it's very difficult to process when you lose the life that you imagined, with
Right.
your child in it. So now is that entitlement to where, you they owe you that life, or, you know, Jillian, you want to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna take notes. I wasn't gonna interrupt you. Um, but now let me close my notes app so I can see you. Okay. So I do have something to ask about that. Um, with that, like, is it not an adaptation that we should make? Like, isn't that just like being stuck in the same rut and so stubborn that it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where like, oh, your life didn't turn out like this, so you're gonna throw a tantrum and like cut everybody off, or like my way or the highway it, which I mean, obviously that's with every generation. I'm not saying just parents, just kids. I do that all the time. Like if something goes wrong and I'm like, no, obviously that's never going to happen now. And it's like, okay, but you could just get your glasses shipped to you next week instead of getting them on Friday. And it's like, no, I'll just never get glasses again. I'll stick with my like old prescription because I just, whatever, it didn't work out. Or would it be better to just adapt and be like accepting of like, okay, cool, this is not how my child turned out, but I'm going to accept them and love them for who they are. And I think that could go for many different situations of like, why is it so, why are we all as humans stuck in such a way of that entitlement of seeing our lives this certain way? And like, if it's not going to be met to that standard, then that person needs to get out, either conform or leave, like, and I'm a rigid person when it comes to that too. Like I've had to check myself a couple of times and be like, you're acting a little crazy right now, Jill.
Yeah, and that was a process for me. I mean, initially, when my daughter went no contact, it was like, no, 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 no. We talk an hour, at least an hour every week, and we laugh and we share what's going on. And you call me every Tuesday at such and such time. No, this is how we do this. This is how we do this. And then it was like, no, mom, I'm not doing this anymore. And honestly, it took me a while to step out of it, to get out of my pain. Of course, I've done a ton of healing, and just now put myself in her shoes, remember when I was her age, and say, she's at this stage in her life where she needs freedom. She needs to experience her life. She needs to discover what's real and true for her and go her own direction. It was very difficult to let go. But, now having her back, realizing that's not what I wanted at all, but it probably was entitlement for me, if I would call it that, to say I thought I was entitled to her at least 1 hour every week, like we always did. Um, but ultimately letting her go and find her own way, and then choosing to come back to, a happy mom, to where we can now have this really great relationship, was the best thing that I ever could have done. But it's hard to see it initially because it just feels like the rug gets ripped out from underneath you. You're just not prepared for it.